Incoming transmission.
Picture this. A recording studio somewhere far, far away.
Welcome, Watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion on the 28th of January. Looking at Prince of Persia today on the Amiga, developed by Broderbund, I think, and released in 1989. I think I pronounced that right. Now, this is a great game. Absolutely fantastic. And it takes a lot of skill and memory to be able to finish this one, and you only have an hour in which to finish the entire game. Now, the first thing you'll notice is the animation is absolutely fantastic. All, I believe, rotoscoped, which is quite interesting because this was kind of the precursor to things like Another World and Flashback, of course. So this kind of opened the door for a lot of these sorts of games that came through, and for such a sort of simple looking game, it's quite complex, really, isn't it? Graphically, of course, you can see that the backgrounds are really... They're simple, but they're not, if that makes sense. There's quite a lot of detail in them, but there's not a lot going on screen at the same time, which is quite nice because it doesn't distract you from your goal. Now, basically, what you've got to do is escape this sort of dungeon area and get yourself up into the other levels of the palace and rescue the princess. So we're going to go and grab that lovely shiny sword down there, which some unfortunate sap has managed to fall down and break his neck. Now, we're not going to do that, are we, folks? I can't promise anything. My memory on this isn't great, so I can't remember exactly where to go and stuff, so we're just going to play it by ear and see how we get on. Controls are fairly simple. Your character will run. If you are not holding the fire button down, your character will just sprint across the screen. Oh dear. Do you remember what I said about not falling down big gaps? Yeah, you can ignore that, but never mind. So every time that you die, you are respawned, but your timer is not reset. So I have now 55 minutes in which to complete this. Okay. That's not happening, but never mind. So yes, you've got sprint, which you can see. Now, if you hold down the fire button and then move, you will do this cautious sort of stepping motion there, as you can see there. Holding up will jump upwards. Holding diagonal up will jump in that direction. Now, you can do a couple of jumps. This one here, whee, straight across the gap. Nice big long jump there. You can also do a standing jump as well. Not quite as long. And some of it's quite precision, so you've got to make sure that you've hit the things at the right times. Now, there's lots of traps and hidden things here you've got to be careful of. So, oh my god, I've done it again. Okay, I'm really trying not to turn him into a human pincushion, but oh well. Let's try again. At least I know where the sword is and we can get on from there, but never mind. One thing you'll notice is that there's not many sound effects, and I think that basically is so that the animation, the level of animation, probably took up a majority of the disc, to be quite honest with you. I'm playing this from a hard drive, a WHD load. If you're interested, you can put this on your own Amigas, which is a great thing to do, especially with SSDs, because you can get yourself, I say SSD, it's more of a flash card, you can get those, which plug into your hard drive socket on your Amiga. I highly recommend that, by the way. But there, this is really, really good game, and will keep you going for a while. Now, if you do fall off the ledge, you can hold down the fire button, and you will sort of hang off them. So you've got that opportunity as well, which I think you saw earlier on. So there you are. You can see the pit traps. They've got the little holes in the floor. You can't run over those, just so you know. You have to sort of do your little sidestep walk, like I'm doing there, and you can navigate those traps quite safely. Now I'm going over and pick that up. Oh, maybe I'm not. Nope. No. Stop trying to pick the skeleton up. There we go. So you can't take your sword out unless you're actually in any sort of combat situation. So we'll try and get to one of the guards, and I can show you that as well. Music wise, there's only music on the title screen really. There's no sort of in-game music, so don't expect any. There's no sort of options either, so don't worry about that. It's basically press fire and you start the game straight away. There we go. Okay, so all in all, this is one of those games where you're going to have to remember where traps are, where movable floors are, and all that kind of thing, which is quite good. But absolutely fabulous game. Really, really nice. And those of you who had an Amiga back in the day probably would have owned a copy of Prince of Persia, whether it was an original or you just scabbed a copy off your mates. I expect this was one in your collection, because it's just one of those must-have Amiga games, really. I would say that if you haven't got this in your collection, you need it in your collection. It's incredible. So the playability for me, there you go, automatically does that. So, oh, nope, don't want to put it away. Right, so here we go. So up and down will block, and then pushing fire will swipe. So you've got to sort of parry them and then counter that, and then they die within a couple of hits. Your health, by the way, is those 3 red arrows in the bottom left-hand corner. Here's the door we need to go to level 2. So we're going to trip the switch, and in we go. So yeah, playability. I mean, it's got so much playability and replay value, because obviously, if you happen to just take a tumble down to your death, then you're gonna have to replay it. Stands to reason, but it's not too bad. Get these little cutscenes as well. See, this is where the music sort of kicks in a bit. You get the cutscene music, you get the title screen music, but that's really all there is. But that's all there really needs to be. It's not a game that requires a load of music in the game to make it any more entertaining. This is absolutely this is a great game, and I just got smashed in the head by a load of bricks. Lovely. So the sort of play range age wise, I would probably give around, I don't know, say 12 plus. I would say would probably be all right with this. Maybe younger, depends. Then you might get on with it, but I would say in general it's probably an older gamers sort of game, really. Which is absolutely brilliant. You can see from what type of game it is. It is a side-scrolling adventure game, and those pots, by the way, down the bottom there, those are health potions. You can pick those up and regain some of those precious health bars if you happen to have lost any. Sometimes it's best to throw caution to the wind as well. When you're going into a new room, sometimes it's best to actually walk into the next room rather than run. But there you are. Only one player game, as you can probably tell, but you know that doesn't take anything away. I don't see how a multiplayer would have worked in this unless it was turn-based. But there we are. Prince of Persia, right up there on my bucket list of games. If you haven't played it, you need to. If you haven't had the opportunity to get yourself into the Prince of Persia world, and by God, there's been a lot of sequels to this game, then it's worth your time to have a look at this. You can probably find a download for it if you really need to for any emulators on the Amiga. I do recommend WinUAE, by the way, but I can't tell you where to find them. You'll have to use your own intuition on that one, guys. So yeah, pretty much that's been Prince of Persia, and I've loved it. So thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Great to have you along. Thanks to new subscribers for pushing that subscribe button. Thanks to my existing subscribers. You guys are awesome. I will catch you next time. Until then, stay retro, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.